Cool. Okay, so welcome to episode 2 of the Donnell edition, where we speak to athletes and sports administrators from across the world through various sports. Today with us we have a full-time ISAF medalist and a former world number 1. He's my brother-in-law, Oliver Tweddell. Welcome mate, thanks for coming on.
No, thanks for having me, Tom. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you up here for a fair bit of time to catch up, and obviously new project, so it's good to have you on.
Yeah.
Be a part of it.
That's great.
Mate, so I guess talk us through sailing. Someone like myself, I'm coming from a very rugby league orientated background, the rugby league, soccer. I never really sort of understood sailing until I met you first.
Yeah.
Talk us through what that is like and how you got started from a young age and career progression.
No worries. Sailing is obviously not a well-known spectator sport, not televised all the time for everyone to see. It's a really interesting sport. There's a lot of technical aspects involved in regards to understanding the weather patterns, how geography plays into the race course. You have not only the weather, wind, waves, you've also got other boats as well. So it's kind of a really cool crossover between tactical strategy and then also the physicality of the boats and the technical side in being able to set up boats too. So there's a lot of intricate things to make a boat go fast and then to race against others as well. So that's kind of cool, and in essence it's a race around certain marks. Normally a race is anywhere between half an hour to an hour long, and a competition is 6 days with 3 to 4 races per day. So it's more of an endurance-based event where a lot of races combine. There's a low point scoring system that wins. So
yeah.
You get 1 point for winning a race, and you get 10 for coming 10th, and whoever has the least amount of points after being able to throw out one of their worst ones ends up winning the regatta or the competition. So
yeah.
It's a sport that can be done from a very young age to an older age. You know, There's a lot of guys that will just people that will be out there sailing their boats on the weekends for a bit of fun. We call it champagne sailing. It's out in the water, having a great time, sipping on some champagne, maybe some strawberries, all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And then there's others that are racing more competitively for the Olympics or America's Cups, or Sydney to Hobarts, and there are others who just literally just love, which most of us do, just love being on the water. You know, nothing better than a bit of salt water in your face on the weekend. It's pretty cool. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And so, how did you get into your first boat?
Yeah. Growing up, grew up in the UK, and my dad was in the Air Force, and he did a lot of sports in the Air Force. And I think the one sport that he didn't do whilst he was there was sailing. So when he got out, he wanted to sail. He really enjoyed it, and I think when I was 4 years old, he put me in a boat with him. Had a lot of fun, loved it. Asked if I can go back in next weekend, and it kind of just blossomed from there. You know, I had a really cool time with that. I remember he would just have a really long piece of rope tied onto my boat, and we sailed on a river, and if I got into trouble, he'd just pull me back in. So it was pretty cool, pretty safe, and just absolutely loved it. And my love for the sport has just grown ever since then. So
yeah. So what, I guess, how was your junior development pathway through there? You obviously started off in the UK, and what's the UK system like? And then obviously you transitioned into further on down your career. But yeah, I guess the start of the Great Britain stuff, what was that like?
Yeah, so growing up in the UK, it's obviously an island, so it's quite a small island in comparison to Australia. There's water all around it, so there's a lot of sailing clubs there that are along the coast, and there's a lot of rivers and lakes you can grow up sailing on as well. So I learned to sail on a river, and after that we expanded to some lakes that are nearby, so it's slightly bigger areas of water, and just did it for fun to begin with, and they had a pretty good grassroots system there where people just get into the sport because they love it through nothing else, and they have a very good system in regards to just improving younger sailors just that love the sport, and then they have so many people that do it that eventually, if they enjoy it enough, they get access to some coaching through a lot of their county programs there, that the coaches then pick them up and you're in these zone squads. So for me, I was fortunate enough to get into one of those squads there, and from there progress through the junior team to the youth team to the senior team over the years before my family immigrated to Australia. But they have a very good grassroots system there. They have a very, very good coaching system where they develop coaches, and then also they have former athletes come back and coach, and a very good pathway system. They're probably a few years ago, probably one of the leading countries in that. I think it helps a lot that they've got some serious government funding from the lottery. They have a lottery funding system there, which helps to pump money back into that pathway. And you know, with the pathway having more sailors coming through, you get better results at the top. So they have a pretty good system set up there. So I felt very fortunate in that. And I was brought up in that time period when the British team was the best sailing team in the world. Yeah, and then I was very fortunate that then when my family immigrated to Australia, and then I then was in Australia in the time period where Australia was the greatest sailing team in the world. So I was quite fortunate to see it from both points of view, and they're both done very differently, but they both got the same results. They're both the best at the time, so it was pretty cool to see both aspects of it and be a part of them. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. So how are you embedded in grassroots at the moment?
Yep. I love the sport. So for the last 10 years, I've been helping to coach junior, youth, and even some senior and masters level sailors. So for me, I just get enjoyment out of helping others. So if I see other people struggling or have any questions, I always try and be as open and easily accessible for other people as possible. So I've had a lot of involvement in coaching kids from the Optimist, which is the junior class boat in Australia, helping them, and I've coached some sailors from when they were maybe 9 years old till when they're 18, 19, so like that whole progression through the junior and youth pathways. I really enjoy being able to give back to the sport in that way, and that I get to share my knowledge, but also that I get to help these athletes achieve some of their goals along the way as well. But I get a lot of enjoyment out of that, and I feel like in a way that's how I'm helping to give back to the sport. And in regards to more senior level with the master sailors, so in the boat I sail, that's people that are over 40 years old. Just really open with the knowledge, and that they sail in the same boat that I do in my Olympic campaigning stuff. So it's really cool to be able to share that information with them and help them progress. And again, I get a lot of enjoyment out of helping these guys, because you know, they're just great people and they love doing the sport that I do. So
yeah. That's awesome. Is it an expensive sport?
Yeah, sailing certainly is the I guess what it's perceived as. It's like an elitist or expensive sport, and I think you could argue it on both ways. Like you have like the America's Cup programs in the Hobarts where there's millions and millions of dollars put into that. But you could also argue the same thing with professional football. For example, you look at teams like Barcelona or Real Madrid. How much money do they pump in to have a team like that exist as well? Then you can bring it back down the level, and you know, you pick up a pair of football boots and some shin pads and a few other things, probably looking at $300-400. You can also pick up a boat with some sailing kit, or like maybe $400 or $500, $600. It's not going to be a great boat, but you know, I don't like how it always is perceived as an elitist or an expensive sport. Yeah, if you want to go down a more Olympic pathway, yes, it is one of the more expensive sports, especially if you're an Olympic campaigner. You know, we have to have a boat in Australia and Europe and maybe somewhere else on another continent too. So that part does add up, but there are a lot of great sailing clubs across Australia, and they do a really good job of letting people come and sail on boats. So people are always looking for crews on boats. So you just go down to your local sailing club. If you've never sailed before, sometimes people are more than happy just to have you come on board because they just need extra muscle power or extra weight on board. So in that essence, you can actually get into a sailing club for free. I think most sailing clubs do maybe 10 to 12 times you can do that for free before actually joining at a sailing club. So you kind of get a way to taste the sport before actually putting any money into it. So so it's a long-winded answer, but yes, it can be expensive, but there's also ways to get in it. It's relatively cheap as well.
So I guess how does it work in terms of like what size boat you get? Does it go on weight? So I guess if you had kids and you want to get kids in like a summer program or something, all the sailing clubs around Australia have this Learn to Sail program, or they call it TAPAS program. So you put the kids in, they're going through an 8 or 10 week course. It's like the boats, everything's provided. So that's like a really small junior class boat. It's maybe as big as a bathtub, you know, a couple of meters long. So very robust, very safe.
So they have junior learn to sail programs. They also have adult learn to sail programs, and those are typically done on much bigger boats, sometimes keel boats, but small ones. So think Sydney to Hobart style boats, but much smaller. And again, they're done with qualified instructors, and they do great training programs to teach people how to sail. And it's mainly to do with smaller boats require lighter people, bigger boats require bigger people. So for me to go into like an Optimist or yourself to go into Optimist, we'd probably sink the thing at our current weights.
Yeah, okay.
You know, so generally speaking, learn to sail for adults is done on bigger boats. And you get boats from a couple of metres to 100 feet. So there's some even bigger. So there are some big boats around.
Yeah, wow. So with your progression from sort of the grassroots, when did the switch really flick for you personally to go, okay, I'm now a professional sailor. This is going to be my bread and butter 5-7 days of the week. You know, because it's not your average job. Obviously, you're an elite athlete for the Victorian Institute of Sport.
Yeah.
So when did that happen for you?
I think that probably happened for me around 2011, 2012, just around like the London Olympic Games. I think at that point in time, I had just been finishing school, been working as a labourer to try and fund coaching, to try and fund the campaign. And I think at that point, I just started to get a couple of good results where I was like, okay, I reckon I could really give this a shot and make this work. And at that point, I was like, let's just go for it. So, at that point, you're thinking about do I do some uni or not? And I just decided to have a crack at the Olympic campaign, and basically, just dedicated that was 2003. So maybe another 8 or 9 years to it, just going full time. 6-7 days a week, just going after it. And the cool thing is that I love sailing, I love the high performance side of things, and I love the fact that I get to be, like you say, an amazing organisation, the Victorian Institute of Sport. They have great personnel there, doing great programs for me. I love being there, the Australian sailing team as well. Like it's these organisations and the people you meet, and we get to travel to some pretty cool places. Like the events are held around the world in some pretty amazing places, and just really enjoy the process and the journey, and try and just be the best athlete that I can be. That was when I was like, I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna go after that and just see what happens. Yeah.
So do they have scouts? Like obviously at the regattas, is that what you call them? Regattas.
Yeah, regattas. Yeah.
Did they have, when you were sort of coming through the system and posting those good results, did they have scouts that would come down and say, right, like it's very similar to rugby league through the grassroots systems when they have a scout from say Sydney Roosters come to a couple of games and say, look, this is the kid we want to have a look at. Was it the same for sailing or?
Yeah, it's interesting. In short, no, there's no specific person employed as a scout looking out for sailing talent. However, in Australia we have the state coaches, the Institute of Sport state coaches, and then underneath them they have the state pathway coaches. So in essence, I think it's their role to keep an eye on all the sailors within their state to try and highlight and identify, okay, do these kids, do they have the work ethic, do they have the talent, are they the right fit for the boat? Looking at all the key metrics that they feel an Australian sailing team suggest will make in 10 years' time an Olympic level athlete. Yeah. So it's kind of an additional aspect to the job of the state coach. Not specific scouts, but it's a comprehensive role of the state coach.
So there's always eyes on what's going on in the scene, who's posting some good results. I might go down and check him out and see how he goes.
Yeah, and I think we have quite good club-based coaches as well. So a lot of club-based coaches, all the clubs run their own internal programs, and that's kind of like the feeder. So that's the most athletes or sailors would go to the club first to learn how to sail. They'll probably be in the club for 7 or 8 years before they even get a sniff of any state stuff. So if the club coach sees something in these athletes, they will then contact the state coaches or suggest that the sailor goes and competes at a certain event where they might get the attention of the state coach. So I think it's a multi-purpose role.
Yeah. And sort of what was the first international event for yourself?
My first international event, I think I was 9 or 10 years old. My dad and I went to, I was very, very fortunate.
Wow.
We went to a World Championships in Singapore, this is when I was living in England back then, so that was a pretty long way to go, but it was an amazing experience, and I had so much fun, and it was, just my dad and I went to Singapore for that event, and he was there as my coach, but he was, just looking after me, making sure I had everything I needed. At that age, I wasn't fully independent yet, as you would expect, so he was there helping me tweak around the boat and stuff like that, and I just had a great time, and that was my first, I think, taste of the life that sailing could provide for me, is that, I'd get to go around and see some cool places, enjoy and experience different cultures around the world too. Like Singapore's a beautiful country, and that was my first real taste of, so that was really cool, and I've been fortunate enough to go back to Singapore twice since then, and still an amazing country and still just like I remembered it. So,
what is the mental and physical grind like to be world number one?
To be world number one, you kind of have to have this high performance or winning mindset, and I think what it comes down to is just got to ask yourself, like, is everything is what I'm about to do going to help me achieve my end goal, whatever it may be? So this applies to whether you're an athlete or a musician or anything else in business. It's like, if I'm going to do this or put energy into this, is it going to help me achieve my end goal? And I guess if it doesn't, then you should rethink whether you're going to do it or not. And that's kind of from the mental side of things, and from the physical point of view, it's just like you got to be able to give everything 100%. So I always just try to give 100% in all of my sessions, even in recovery and everything else. And it wasn't any different before, being on one or after. It's still always just try and give your best, and that's all you can really do. But I think it comes down to that mentality of just everything you do is towards the end goal.
Yep. And what's the decision process, and what are some of the challenges you come across when you're competing out on the water?
Yes, sailing's a very tricky sport like this. We have to play with Mother Nature, so, and that dictates a lot of things in our racing strategy. So for us, there's so many different data points and elements that we need to analyse, and we're constantly updating this. Like every second you're getting information coming in, and you're having to process, okay, is that information relevant right now? If it is, okay, how does it then impact me? And some of the stuff will come in and say, okay, that's cool, but it's not relevant to any decisions you have to make. And that's just purely from Mother Nature. Then you've got other boats impacting you as well. So it's kind of the broader picture strategy is you have your plan for the race and what you want to do. And then when another boat interferes or messes that up, you then have to, you might have a plan to go this way, and then a boat gets in your way, stops you from doing that, and you have to recalculate a new plan right on the fly. So it's pretty cool in that sense, and you become very good at making decisions under pressure, and the better you get, the more accurate you make them, and they tend to be better decisions from experience. But on big boats that have a specific role, called the tactician, that person purely just calls all the shots. So like in a big boat of with professional sailors, they break up each role in the boat. So, and that's how quite crucial it is. They have a specific guy or person calling the shots. But when you're racing at like Olympic level, you've got either one or two people on the boat, so you kind of have to do all these roles by yourself or with another person. So the decision-making process is very difficult, but you get better at it and making the correct decision.
Yeah, so in terms of making the correct decision, you're talking about wind would be a massive impact, obviously?
Yeah, so like the wind moves quite a bit, and if there were no other boats there, with how the wind moves and across the race course, there's more wind in some spots and less wind in the others. You kind of want to sail the shortest distance as fast as possible. That's how, in essence, you win a yacht race. But then when you throw other boats in play as well, sometimes they stop you from taking that winning path, and then you have to try and figure out what's the next best route. But decisions is based on that. The wind's never in the same place, even though when you're outdoors walking on the beach, it may feel like it's in the same direction. Like we have compasses, we use those to tell where the wind's coming from, and sometimes 2 or 3 degrees is quite big. Like a 2 or 3 degree change in direction is quite big. So like we're talking it makes it very tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your aspirations post-career? Obviously with that, sorry, going back to that, you obviously have to back yourself a lot.
Yeah, I think you have to back your decisions all the time, especially in our sport and sailing. Like if you have a plan and then you change it, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be worse for you. You've got to kind of trust your gut. Like you've made the decision, or subconsciously you're thinking about it, so you back yourself. Also back yourself in regards to your training and knowing that you know yourself best, and being able to back your beliefs and your decisions is really critical. It's a sport where you really have to have your courage of your convictions. And in boats where you sail with another person, obviously you need to back your partner and your sailing partner as well. So that's a really interesting team dynamic there too. But yeah, in regards to the professional side of things, I've been working on getting my university degree. I got that last year, which is pretty cool. I've got a business and finance degree. So I've got a couple of injuries a while back, and I knew that there was a potential you could get a career-ending injury, and that for me, I hadn't made my money in coaching and professional sailing. So in both those industries, you kind of need a fit and healthy body. So I was like, okay, well, if I did get injured that prevented that, then where's the income going to come from? So I got my degree in business and finance. I have a really strong passion for finance and investing and personal finance. So I've been in the background working away on a couple of things in regards to setting up a YouTube channel and a few other things in regards to my own finance, passions. And then also I've been working for many years as a coach and setting up my own performance consulting business, which I've been doing for a while now, but branching out a bit more. So kind of had those two things on the side as side projects whilst I've been campaigning. And I think whenever that finishes, that'll probably be something that I'll look into doing.
Awesome. And how was juggling uni life, study life with the career?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty tough. Like, I don't want to lie, it's you're dedicating over 30 hours a week to your training, and that's just your training hours, not your recovery, your nutrition hours, all the rest of it. I quite enjoyed it. I was fortunate enough to get my degree at RMIT, but through Open Universities Australia, so they're really great in online education. So everything that you would have learned at uni is all just put online, which I think now a lot of people during this COVID thing are realising is actually quite cool to be able to do and learn online. So I was fortunate enough to be able to get my degree through that and got my degree in the end from RMIT. And Open University Australia is very helpful towards athletes and even working and living professionals who may not have time to go into university and would fail on attendance normally. So it was difficult, but I was able just to, I'm going to do X amount of training hours today. I'm going to blocked out 2 hours every day for study, and as long as I got over an hour, I was pretty happy, and 2 hours was like, oh, brilliant. So that's just how I kept myself on track. But it got difficult when you're then travelling around Europe and stuff, and during competitions, obviously the study waned off a bit, so you try and do it all during training blocks instead.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. And sort of with your post-career aspirations, we've talked sort of about things that you're setting up in the, social media aspect.
Yeah.
Can you sort of talk about that?
Yes, I think I have a passion for helping others and coaching people, and I'd love to do a bit more. Sailing coaching as well. But I think my passion is in finance, and also my passion is in educating people. So I see quite a cool crossover there to be able to carry on my consulting business, but launch that into a bit more mainstream of business rather than just athletes. And then from a finance point of view, I think I've been considering the idea for a while, and I think I'm going to launch potentially a YouTube or a video series where I can help try and educate and help increase people's financial literacy around their own personal finances and investing and budgeting, because I think there's certain things that aren't really taught in the school system, and I think there's stuff that people should know that we should be able to help set them up in years to come. So
yeah, definitely. I think this time has really opened opened a lot of our eyes to our own personal finances. I know on a personal level we've had to tighten the belt a little bit, and a lot of friends and family that I talk to and colleagues that I work with have done the exact same thing, especially with this. So I think it's a great idea.
Appreciate it, and I mean, love the fact that you're setting up this podcast, and it's pretty cool and inspiring for other people, and it's great. So
it'll be good to continue on, and hopefully, get a few more people on, and like yourself, and it's all positive. So,
awesome.
And I think that's pretty much it.
Thanks for having me on, mate. It's been fun.
No drama anytime. It's always good to have a chat about these things, and as I said, we haven't really, almost close to the 10 years that I've known you, we've never really sort of sat down and unpacked your career and your driving forces behind that, and it's been really, really good, and hopefully a few people get a little bit out of it. I know I certainly did.
I've had a lot of fun, and it's been a learning experience, and thanks for doing this and helping get a message out there for other athletes and people in the business world, sports and business world. It's great.
Awesome. Thanks, mate. Thank you.
Thank you. No worries.
Cheers. All right. That's it.
Excellent.
So we have 10 quick questions with the professional sailor that is Oliver Tweddell. So about question 1, what time do you set your alarm?
That's a good question. I'd say normally around 6 to 6:30.
Yeah.
I'm an early bird. So.
Nice. What's your favourite meal when not training?
Favourite meal when not training? You can't go wrong. I love lobster.
Nice.
The rich taste. So.
Nice. And what would be your favourite meal your least favourite meal when you're training? What would that be like?
Least favourite meal? Probably not so much the least favourite, but just when I was on weight gain, just the sheer amount of food that I had to eat, it was a pain. You just look at it and you just wouldn't enjoy the food, you know. Back on 15 kilos, it was just like, just eat it. So,
best gift you've ever been given?
Probably my girlfriend always handmakes all my cards for my birthday and for Christmas and stuff. That's probably pretty cool. I appreciate the thought that goes into that. So, I'll probably go with that. Yeah.
Nice. Favourite place to sail in the world?
Favourite place to sail in the world? I've got 2. One is in Lake Garda in Italy, and then the other is Port Phillip Bay in Melbourne. Pretty lucky to have that. There's some home water. So
fair enough. Who is your sporting hero?
Sporting hero? I had a couple, but probably the one that I like. Really, really inspiring the most, probably Roger Federer. You know, he was all class off the court and in his business dealings, but on the court he was straight to the point. He was aggressive. He did what he needed to do to win, but within the rules. So Roger Federer for me.
Awesome. Favourite movie?
Favourite movie? I do like The Blind Side.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a tearjerker. It's a true story, so it's a tearjerker. It's a good one. So,
and if you're a superhero, what powers would you have?
Getting me there, mate. That's one of my favourite ones. Any Marvel character. I'd probably be... what powers would I have? I like Thor. He's the god of thunder, just summons lightning, strong enough to pick up the hammer. I'd probably go with Thor. But, he's a god, so it's pretty cool. Those powers.
Favourite sporting team?
Tottenham Hotspurs.
Spurs, Haven't been doing that well?
The
greatest run?
Not since Mourinho came on board, unfortunately.
So, I was a Liverpool fan, but once I found out the family history behind the Hotspurs, I quickly changed my decision.
Good man.
Mate, what is your proudest accomplishment? Probably within sport and outside of sport.
Yeah. Actually, for me, probably one of my proudest moments was when I helped establish an all-girls training clinic in Victoria. In a junior clinic that has now become an inaugural thing, and it's just become like a yearly event that happens every year. It's been going on for, I think, over 7 or 8 years now. Just for me, as launching that clinic, and to see, with smiles on the face, and to see that it achieved what we wanted it to achieve, and that it's continued going on, it's a pretty cool thing. So creating that legacy there, the women in sailing in Victoria is pretty cool. And then outside of sport, That's probably good. I would say probably I was quite proud of the fact I was able to finish my uni degree whilst campaigning and also working as well alongside it. I think
that is a massive commitment.
Yeah.
Going through that myself, in my degree, so
it's pretty tough.
yeah, juggling parenthood and that. But so yeah, juggling the travel and things like that you have to deal with as an elite athlete.
It's pretty tough.
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
Awesome, mate. That is the 10 questions complete.
Awesome.
Once again, thanks very much. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks a lot for having me, mate.
Good stuff. Thanks, mate. Well done.
Good job, mate.
Cheers.